Hey, good morning, everybody. So, full disclosure, I'm making this kind of biography video for two purposes. The first is to say hello to my new teammates, fishermen and RMs out there on the Vibe Pro staff. Morning, everybody. So, my name's Mike Proscia. I'm from Maine, and it's good to get to know everybody. So here's a little story about myself, and I'll show you around a little bit. So I lived in Camden, Maine. It's on the coast, up in the middle-ish part of Maine on the coast, if you take a look. Sometime, maybe a year or so ago, I started hearing from this guy named Matt Charette. Fishes on the local circuit up here on some of the tournaments and items like that, and I have a YouTube channel, so he started reaching out and posting comments. Man, those look good, things like that. So that was kind of where it started, maybe a little over a year ago. Before I had heard of anyone, I went and purchased my Vibe kayak. So I've had it for about a year and a half now. All of last season and about half of the season before that, and just absolutely love it. I have a Sea Ghost 130. I'll show it to you, and just love it. So, who am I, and how weird is my story? Okay. So, I spent the first 20 years of my life growing up on Long Island in New York. Brooklyn, Queens, New York City, items like that. I think I probably fished 3 times in my life. And if it was on the surf with some nasty, smelly bunkers going for bluefish. Nothing real memorable, nothing much learned from it. The next 20 years after that, moved to Florida. Bass fishing heaven. I lived in Florida for 20 years. I never fished once. Go figure. That 20 years of my life was so crazy and hectic and busy. Getting married, having kids. Spent a decade going through school, my wife and I, taking turns at night, items like that. Just had zero time to do anything except go to work, live, and sleep. So it's unfortunate because I feel like I missed out on a lot. So that 20 years ended. And about 5 years ago, I moved to Maine. And that's when the fun began. I purposely, my wife and I, we left, 40 years of living in big cities and all that stuff on purpose. And just left and moved to Maine. Get kind of off the grid-ish, but away from traffic and craziness and violence and things like that. And that's when I figured out I had enough spare time to get a hobby. Never had a hobby my whole life. So I knew I had liked fishing, hadn't done it much, so went out and bought a cheapy Walmart setup, and it was great. Then I found a cheap kayak. I'll show you those. That somebody was selling for $100. And just had loads of fun. Cheap little Sun Dolphin kayak. Not very comfortable. I'm kind of a bigger guy, 5'10", about 250 at the time. So, it wasn't the best kayak, but I could get to places. That was really cool. I used that for a short period of time, a few months, before I realized I liked this. I didn't know how much, so I took that, traded it out. There's a lot of trading going on in Maine. Trading. Traded it out for a better kayak, not a fishing kayak, just a better one. Bigger. I'll show you that one too. And that one was good too, but it wasn't very comfortable. Found out the perils of a sit-in kayak that was really enclosed, probably more like a sea kayak. And a short time after that, I said, you know what, I want to buy myself something. So I started looking for fishing kayaks. Did some research, just research for a while. Looked around, when I saw certain names, looked online, and boy, I saw this incredible presence from Vibe. Lots of demos, people talking, and then as I got off of YouTube and videos and Google and things, there was just a lot of good vibes about Vibe. It seemed like the old stable kayak companies were basically just, pictures in magazines. You'll buy it because you'll buy it, because this is what we're selling. They didn't have an identity. I didn't know that was important at the time, but now it's really cool. So I used the heck out of my Sea Ghost 130. I probably, in the year and a half I've had it, I dare say I use my kayak more than anyone you know. and have put it in the water more times than anyone knows. That's how much I use it. I film on my YouTube channel. I filmed enough sessions last year to post videos for a year and a half out from now. That's how much I go on it. There was times I went on it every day for 3 weeks straight or more. So what do I like? I'm not into tournaments and things like that. I know Matt keeps trying to get me into these. I fish to relax, but I'm going to try it this year a little bit. My thing is, and if anyone ever gets a chance to come up here in Maine, I think Matt mentioned it in his video, you can get away from absolutely everything. There is no one to bother you in some of the places you go. In fact, some of the places you go, no one ever goes to. Some of them, no one even know they exist. And that's the fun part. You know, I have dragged my kayak a quarter mile through dense woods, over trees and stumps to get to a pond that I know has never been filmed. There's no videos of them anywhere. And I dare say some of them nobody even goes to. They're that secluded and that hidden, which I think is pretty cool. So low pressured environments for sure. The vibe, you know, I pull it through woods fully loaded. You know, it slides, it goes good. I've taken it through gravel pits and things like that, and it holds up really great. For my size, I'm not a stand-up guy inside the kayak, but I've done it a few times just to stretch. But it's incredibly comfortable. I've done a lot of mods to it. I've added the trolling motor like a lot of folks. Seat risers. I had the fish finder last year. I gave it up though because most of the places I fish are not deep enough. Lots of rod holders, you know, pieces like that. So I'll show you around, show you some of my stuff, do a little stop and start with the video here. Thanks for having me, guys. Oh, and P.S. Matt, I'm not telling you where my honey holes are. I swear. All right, here it is, my arsenal. So when people ask, how do you store all of your stuff? How do you get it to fit? How do you this? What kind of crates do you use? I don't. I'm probably the most minimalist fisherman you'll ever see. I refuse to throw things out, and I buy the cheapest stuff I can find. But if you watch some of my videos, you know I think it's less about the tackle and knowing how to use it. So, 4 boxes. Right side of my seat on the kayak, left side of my seat on the kayak, underneath. That's it. This is what I go with every time I go out. Terminal tackle, mostly top waters, a couple diving crankbaits, spare paddle tails, and rigged paddle tails. And these are the different types. I have more, but different types of setups. I'm affectionately known as Paddle Tail Mike in some necks of the woods. This is just this small, tiny little, you know, grouping of what I actually keep, but that's it. These 2 go under my seat, left and right. That's how I travel. That's all I need. So, kind of a smaller man cave for me, but I'll show you. This is inside my house in my basement. I like to keep things in here. A little more temperature controlled, so there's the rods for the winter. The ones covered are the better ones. The ones not covered are the cheaper ones. I usually travel with 3. Yes, only 3. That's all I need. The 2 main setups I use are Lews combo setups. Yes, I bought the Lews combo setups with the Lews rod and reel. I don't have any problems with them. They work great for me. One is the Mach Crush, the Mach II. So baitcaster combo. And the other, I love this one, the Mach Crush, the orange one. Baitcaster combo. Both of them are the combos. I've had some folks ask, how do you mount your camera? So this is the wacky setup I created. I had the ball mount from my fish finder, and I had a spare fish finder bracket. So I took that and I put one of the gooseneck flexible things on top of it, and then an extension. So that sits right on the console a couple feet in front of me, and I can bend it and twist it any way I want. So, also inside the temperature controlled world, there's my trolling motor kit. I like to keep it happy. My chair flattened up there, and I keep my batteries for everything inside for the winter so they don't die, get drained out. My PFD, my inflatable. All right. Oh yeah, by the way, this is my yard. This is what's going on now. I do not ice fish. I can't see myself sitting on a block of ice freezing all day. If I want to drink beer that bad, I'll do it in my house in front of my fire. But, so yeah, we've had a lot of snow lately. So that's the house, the compound, the wood pile, and this is my outdoor garage. So, we'll see what kind of goodies we got in here. Everything's kind of stored at this point. So, you won't get the best look at things, but it's a look at things. This is where everything stays. So I'm one of those people. I went out and found an old jet ski trailer. It's on its side just so I can park in here, but that's how I transport most of the time. You know, fix it up a little bit. There's the Vibe in her resting place right now, upside down. These are the other two kayaks I was talking about. So there's the Sun Dolphin. She just sits there just in case. And then, oh yeah, Wilderness Systems. That's the other one. That's the longer one. That one's, I call it the Blue Rocket. I think flies through the water. But all the spare items are in here. Carts, you know, setups, pieces like that. And there's even another item out there. I don't know if you can see it. There's a canoe out there also. So I've got lots of ways of getting on the water. This is kind of my spare when the weather gets warm. Got some spare items out here, some change outs, hooks, and things like that. So I keep stuff that I don't have to worry about freezing out here. So that's who I am. That's Maine. That's my neck of the woods. As you can tell, it's not fishing weather, but my season typically, as soon as the ice gets out, I will get out there. So in sometimes early April, sometimes mid-April, and I'm one of those crazy people that will fish as long as I can, depending on the weather. A year ago, I was out in my kayak in mid-December on a lake that had not frozen yet. Last year, it was mid-November because of the weather. So it's been a few months since I've been able to get out there. It's takes some getting used to. You know, the first few weeks after there's ice and you got to put the kayak away, I think this year, you know, I went blind for 2 or 3 weeks. I couldn't smell anymore. I think I lost my hearing for a few weeks and just kind of rambled like a crazy man. And after about 5 or 6 weeks, I slowly came out of it and realized that, oh, life will happen again. Then I could hear again and see again and touch and feel and taste. It's abrupt when it happens, but it makes the fishing kind of unique up here. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of the team with me. You guys are awesome, and hopefully we'll catch up in the future.